Hi everyone, you're watching Good for the Game team. Welcome to this US Masters 2019 betting preview. I don't know about you, but the time between the end of the PGA when Brooks Koepka sunk the winning putt to when the US Masters comes is just that bit too long. What it does mean is I'm gagging in anticipation for a big weekend of golf betting. Before you do anything else, if you're new to our channel, go down below this video, hit the subscribe button and hit the bell. You'll get notified of all of our uploads. We are predominantly a rugby channel. We do lots of rugby betting previews, including our flagship show on a Thursday night, the Handicap Rugby Chat That Matters. But we will be previewing all the golf majors as well, and certainly as the Cricket World Cups comes along, we'll do that, and we do some of the big major horse races too. Well, it's going to be a very exciting week of punting, and I've got two golf punters joining me to talk about their bets to see if we can unearth some betting value amongst the bookmakers. And I'll start with someone who's talked a bit of golf with us before. It's Brad Bernstein from Buddy Golf. Brad, good to have you back on the show.
Brent, good to be back. And as you're saying, yeah, it does. It seems like a very long time since we last chatted. And I think this year is going to be even longer because they're bringing the PGA earlier in the season. So next year's way, it's going to be even longer. But we're at Masters Week, and this is the big one.
Right. And just to mention, your app that you guys are involved with, I know a group of you started at Buddy Golf. It's buddygolf.com or buddygolf.co.za?
buddygolf.co.za, and yeah, we've relaunched, we've made some tweaks, we've listened to some suggestions, and we've got a free version, which I think is key because a lot of people don't want to try out a new app and have to pay, but you can enter for free. You pick 12 players, you get different points for where they finish in the tournament, so it's like fantasy league golf. And the free version, the winner gets £1,000, and there's also going to be a spot in one of the pro-ams on the Sunshine Tour later on in the year, which is a fantastic prize to win. I managed to have a round with George Coetzee last year, which was amazing. Yeah. And then the paid tournament is £500. You can enter as many teams as you want. Last year, we had a prize pool of about £165,000. The winner walked to. Funny enough, the winner came first and second. He entered two teams that came first.
That's impressive.
It was amazing, you know. So he walked away with a really nice paycheck after that.
Excellent. Well, we'll certainly put the details when I upload the show. We're not doing the show live now. When I upload it, I'll put the link to your website as well below in the comments section. I'll also have link to the Good for the Game forum thread where the boys have started posting their fancies. But let's go to another face that's not new to watchers of this channel. We previewed, I think it was the Sunner Cup, where he was spot on with the winner, and he had a good run for his money in the Sun Met as well. It's Jason Dedekind. Jason, good to have you back on, and looking forward to the golf, I'm sure.
Yeah, Brent, it's nice to be back on the show, and obviously from a Good for the Game perspective, it's nice to be part of the forum. Having said that, you know, it's not racing anymore. It's back to my first love, golf, and hopefully we can steer the punters between Brad, myself, and you, and in the right direction. Obviously, we want to make a bit of money. I'll be entering Brad's competition, and as we discussed, we can talk a little bit about later. But Scorebet will also be adding a few prizes to that competition. So you know, all good for the game, as they say, and you know, I think it's going to be a fantastic Sunday evening. I think the wives, the family are going to hate us for the next 4 days from Thursday. But having said that, you know, there are roses, there are many flower sellers around where we are, Johannesburg. I think we'll make good use of them.
Yeah, we certainly can. Well, Jason, I'll stay with you to start with. Let's talk about your betting strategy for the Masters before we go into your selections. What sort of strategy do you take to this event? Do you do a lot of research? Do you read what other tipsters are doing? And what sort of staking plan do you have? Do you focus on certain markets?
Well, I like to, obviously, as a racing man, you always like to find the winner. So obviously for me, it's finding the value for the guy that's going to put the green jacket on at the end of Sunday evening. I look at places, the best value. I do look at the head-to-head pools, obviously different amongst your different bookmakers, to see who the value is in those pools for the 72-hole match betting. And then, you know, once the draw is announced, I'm not too sure if that has been announced yet, but then you look to the head-to-head guys on, you know, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So, you know, for the guys that like to punt most days, they can have a few flutters here and there and maybe take a few multiples with their fancies. I look at players in form. I look at track record around Augusta. Obviously, Jordan Spieth is obviously one of those guys that has a fantastic record around Augusta. Hideki Matsuyama, who I'll touch on a little bit later, finished in the top 24 the last 4 years. A few other guys, obviously Louis for me is one of my guys that I follow quite religiously in terms of golf. He's due a green jacket, and you know, who can discount the whole Rory Tiger factor? Obviously the match play last week was phenomenal when the guys met each other, and I think they're going to go head to head this week. I mean, the guys were saying, I've been reading a little bit online, Tiger's there to win. He's not there to make friends. You know, a lot of guys, Justin Thomas apparently went up to him today and said, or yesterday, and said to him, listen, can you give me one or two of your trade secrets? He said, carry on, boy, carry on walking past me. Good luck. So you know, that's what I like to see. I'm a big Tiger fan. I've always been privileged to watch Tiger quite a lot in terms of his stature in golf from a young age, and I think he's great for the game, and I'll be rooting for him come Sunday.
Well, I can tell you what, if McIlroy and Woods are walking down the 18th together and they're the last two ball to finish on Sunday, I'll probably be quite happy, as you'll see later by my bets. And Brad, yourself, the Masters, how do you approach it as a punter?
So it's obviously, you know, everyone's eager to get those big prices before the tournament and try call the winner, but it's very difficult. So what I've mentioned before is I often like to wait for one round, and you can often get very good value after one round. So the leaders are on 4 under, you get 20 to 1 someone who's on 1 under. So maybe you would have got 30 or 40 to 1 before the tournament, but at least you know he's in contention. Whereas often you take a few bets, the guy shoots 5 over and
he's gone.
Obviously, when you're trying to back, say, someone like Rory or Dustin, that's often not a great strategy because they're often quick starters. And if Rory's anywhere within a couple of shots of the lead, instead of 7 to 1, he's now going to be 2 to 1.
Right.
Tiger, on the other hand, he's traditionally a slow starter at Augusta. So, you know, he can often shoot level par, and you can maybe get 20 to 1 or something tomorrow. Or, sorry, after day one. So that also depends on which of the players you're going for. If you're going for the top players, maybe go for them early. If you're going for some outsiders, maybe wait around.
Right, and let's have a look at the betting then, Brad, because as you say, there are some big prices available up front, and I'm going to have a look at Bet Exchange's prices because I always enjoy Bet Exchange for the golf. They come out with some big prices, and I find if you're a bit patient and you wait as well, you tend to get bigger prices just before tee-off. And if you are looking to back a rank outside, I can tell you, you won't find a better place than Bet Exchange to back them. And I see Rory here, he's 15 to 2 favorite. We've got Dustin Johnson, 11 to 1. Justin Rose's 14s, Tiger Woods 18 to 1, 18 to 1 John Ram, who finished 4th last year after a very slow start. He came storming through the field. You've got Ricky Fowler at 18s, Thomas at 20, and you've got 25 to 1 and Better the Field. Any one of those top boys that I mentioned you're going to get involved with early?
It's obviously it's hard because you can't back all the top guys because you won't show a profit. But Rory's made, I think, 5 top 10s in a row at Augusta, and he hasn't finished outside the top 6 this whole year. So for me, he's my number one guy I'm going to go with. But then Dustin's, you know, always up there. Paul Casey's had 4 out of 5 top 10s at Augusta and playing well this year. Tiger, obviously, you know, he's starting to come right. Rose has had 2 runner-up finishes in the last 4 years. It's just so difficult. But so you can't go for them all. I'm going to go for Rory out of the top guys.
15 and I know you did WhatsApp me your bets before the show, and I followed a similar strategy to you with Rory. You're going to back him with Bet Exchange because they do offer a money back special up to, I think, a maximum of a 5,000 Rand stake. So if you back Rory and he comes 2nd or 3rd instead of winning, you won't lose your stake.
No, it's especially with when you're backing a front runner. So Rory, there's a good chance if he doesn't win, he is going to come 2nd or 3rd. So there's a good chance you're getting your money back. And they're offering 7.5 to 1 when a lot of the other places are offering 6.5 and 7 to 1. So you're getting double the value. You're backing someone like Louis, yes, you get your money back, but he's 40 to 1 or 50 to 1. Look for the better price, and I'll take my chance. It's not like you're going to, well, I'm not going to go and put $5,000 on Louis.
Exactly. No,
so the getting your money back is not a major thing.
And that's why I quite like that, that let's call it a fairly biggish limit by Bet Exchange there, because if you are backing a shorter price guy, that's when you're going in with a big bet. I mean, I like Beauregard this week for a big week. He's 300 to 1. I'm definitely if I do stick a win bet on him, it's going to be $50. That's all I need to stick on him. So okay, we'll come back and talk about some of the outsiders and that later. But let's go across to Jason. Any of those top guys in the betting catch your eye? I mean, I've got to be honest, Jason, they all catch my eye. I think it's an incredibly open US Masters, and like Brad, ultimately got to narrow down the selections a bit.
Yeah, I think there's only 87 guys teeing it up this year. So from a betting perspective, it's not normal 140, 150 players trying to win. So the value is definitely there. I like, obviously, Dustin Johnson's got a chance. I think everybody that gets off to a decent start. Justin Rose is predominantly one of the best starters around. If you look at his major records, he's generally always up there in the top 5 of first-round leaders. So, if you can have a bet on him for the first round, if you're itching to have a little tickle, I wouldn't talk against having a bet of Justin Rose first up. Obviously he's changed to Honma golf clubs as opposed to TaylorMade. So, he did well and won a tournament, but he's taking a little bit of time to follow that through. Looking at the players in form, you got to follow the big boys. Rory's in form, Dustin's there and thereabouts. Like I said, I've gone for Tiger, who's also had a decent sort of run. And then you also follow the pundits that sort of have got these little niche things going on. And I was looking at a website earlier called CS Sports. And they predicted Patrick Reed. They predicted Brooks Koepka last year for the PGA. And their algorithm this year brings out Hideki Matsuyama, who I touched on earlier, at 35 to 1. And I hear what Brad's saying. I mean, I can't fault the logic. But for me as a bookmaker, I'm laying Rory McIlroy to the hilt. He's looking for his 4th major. He's looking to complete the slam. Yes, he's on form, but the pressure around the US Masters, if he brings it, all good and well, I'll happily pay the guys all the best. But for me, I'm going to lay Rory this week.
Right, you're looking to lay Rory as much as you can. And I think actually, what helps make Brad and my decision there is that money back special for
Yes, no, 100%. That's exactly what I was going to touch on.
But agree with you. I mean, when you're taking a
from Bet Exchange.
Yeah, when you're taking a short price, well, let's call it a single figure in the golf. Yeah, you kind of I mean, he shoots a bad round early on, and you're gone, and you think to yourself, what have I done? But I like Brad. I've just got a feeling that Rory's going to be there at the business end.
Listen, I won't be shouting against him. Don't get me wrong. I love Rory. I think he's a great ambassador for the game, unlike a few Spaniards these days who have cast a few shadows over the sport. But having said that, I've also got to lay my colours to the mast. I'm a bookmaker. I've got to look at the value, and I like to lay favourites, especially in golf. I mean, there's 86 other options to win the Masters. I'm not saying I hope Rory doesn't win, because obviously, as I said earlier, golf is not our biggest entity right now. But having said that, from a personal perspective, I'm rooting Tiger home. I think 18 to 1, 17 to 1, whatever you can get, tremendous value for a 4-time winner around Augusta, who has hit peak form, who's confident, who's arrogant again, and I think that is the value in the field.
Yeah, Tiger Woods here, 18 to 10. I'm just sharing my screen at the moment, guys. You can have a look at that. We've got 18 to 10. Let's move on to the next group of players. We won't run through all 87 players in the field, don't worry. But just to run through, I think the guys who are sort of sitting just above the 20 to 1 mark. We got Jordan Spieth, a renowned course specialist, but not in the greatest of nick. Francesco Molinari, he won the Open last year. I thought he was absolutely superb in the WGC match play a couple of weeks ago until he faltered in his semi-final. But he really, really did play well. Brooks Koepka, who for me is becoming the big tournament player. He doesn't always bring his A game to the regular PGA Tour events. I am a little bit worried about his form, but that explains why we're getting the 30 to 1 about Koepka. He is looking for his 3rd successive major in the US, and I think he's won something like 3 of the last 6 majors. Plenty of pedigree. Paul Casey, well, he's got a great Augusta record. He doesn't putt that well. Fleetwood, a bit new to the scene as far as the majors go, but he should go well. Jason Day, a bit bigger than he normally is in the betting. And then Bubba Watson, who's a 2-time champion, broke Louis Oosthuizen's heart back in 2012. I must mention Matsuyama there at 35s. And DeChambeau, who seems to have disappeared off the scene a little bit after doing so well in the FedEx Cup last year, and perhaps starting to look a little bit of value there. He's 40s along with Oosthuizen. So, Brad, I'll come to you then. Anyone in that crop that I mentioned there, anyone catch your eye early?
This is how hard the Masters are, because almost all of them. I mean, Kupka, he's improved each time he's played the majors. He finished 30th, then 20th, then 11th. He's basically now a major specialist. His focus is there. And, the other week he actually did have a top 5 finish. So getting a little bit back into form. I really think he looks at the smaller tournaments just as warm-ups and just tries to work on his game. If he wins it, great. If he doesn't, I don't think he minds. But he's all about the majors. And I think he can definitely be up there come Sunday. Paul Casey, as I mentioned, 4 of the last 5 years, he's finished in that top 10. Baba, 2-time winner, and Matsuyama, as Jason was saying, what was it, 4 in a row also?
Yeah.
So, sure, it's tough to call. And then we get to Louis. We throw him in as well, but it's very hard to back everyone.
So, guys, let me just pop you over to a little tool that I use. I have gone over this in some of my golf previews before, but for people maybe watching the show for the first time, it's on the betting.betfair site. Now, South Africans cannot trade on Betfair, but that doesn't mean we can't read the articles. And this little thing here has got recent form. So it shows you the player's last 12 tournaments, how he's done. McIlroy and them, obviously, they're shown as 9th because they went out in the last 16 of the match play. But you get a feel for the form. What's also quite nice is you can look at the course form as well. And here we can see, I mean, and if we were to go to a player like Paul K, well, there's Jordan Spieth's record at Augusta. Absolutely phenomenal. I mean, he's finished just outside the top 10, outside the top 3 actually once in the last 5 years. And you can see Casey's record there as well. Very, very consistent. He had no worse than 6th for 3 years and then a 15th last year. So just to mention this, it's quite nice. I do find when I do my bets to have a look at this, because for me, course form is important, Jason, and in particular at the Masters.
100%, Brent. I mean, you don't go around that place. I mean, how many years has it been since there's been a debutant winner? And, you look at the likes of Jordan Spieth, although his form hasn't been great, as Brad said, you can, it's all about a little bit of gut feel when it comes to golf betting. Pick your favorites, pick your horses for courses. Jordan Spieth, I wouldn't talk anybody out against him having a bet. And the same with Brooks Koepka. If you look at the majors, I mean, if you're a major player and that's all you play and you follow major form, then you backing Brooks Koepka at 30-1. There's no doubt about that. He is a phenomenal golfer, and for me, one of the players to beat. I mean, I'd rather be taking 30-1 Brooks Koepka or probably 4 or 5-1. I'm not sure what the place value is, rather than 7-1 Rory to win. Just touching on those top guys again. I mean, Jon Rahm had a fantastic weekend last year and came through the field, as you alluded to. Ricky Fowler's due a major. Justin Thomas, he's always good around there. Francesco Molinari, world class last week. I just worry that he's not long enough to win around Augusta. Although, everybody will say to me, but what about our good old friend, the name that eludes me back in the day, where the man hit irons off par 5 tee boxes, laid up everywhere and the like. I just don't think.
I know Zach Johnson. You're talking about Zach Johnson,
yes, 100%. So I just don't think Francesco's long enough. Koepka definitely long enough. Casey definitely long enough. I'd be rooting for Paul Casey if I had no business interest come Sunday night, and Tommy Fleetwood. I don't know why, but I've got a soft spot for these pommies. I think they bring a lot to America, a lot to the USPGA. Obviously, Ian Poulter also at 95-1 there. I think Mark Leishman's also a bit of value at 55-1. Funny enough, touching on that CS Sports website, they said the person to lay at which a lot of people will be having a flutter on, particularly the Americans, is Phil Mickelson. They say he's not going to finish in the top 25 this year.
Well, that'll be interesting because he's also got a very, very strong record at the Masters. Jason, let's stay with you for now. I'm just skimming down. Have you got anything amongst the real long shots? Did I see you mention? I think you liked Hoffman. I think for a top 10.
Yeah, Charlie Hoffman did well last week, and I know it's not great to play the week before when they head into a major. But Hoffman's one of those guys that just plays week in and week out. And he's one of those guys that seems to be unfazed. I'm not saying with all month confidence come Sunday, if he's one shot from the lead, he won't have white knuckles, as we say, coming down the stretch. But I think at a bit of value, I think I tipped him at 8 or 10 to 1 a place for top 10. I think he provides a bit of value, and obviously the winner from last week, he did well. I mean, 6-man playoff, phenomenal effort, and I think you said he was about 250 to 1. So I think that's also good value for guys that like guys that are in form. For me, I like the guys that are tried and tested around the track. Hence why I've gone the likes of Louis and Tiger. Obviously, from a South African perspective, Louis for me is the best bet for your big professional punters. I think he'll be a runaway lead champion of the South Africans. Unfortunately, I don't think Brandon's in the best form. And then with respect to the other guys, Louis is in a different category. So I thought 7 to 10 about Louis, top South African, was a great bet for your professional punters, for the guys that like to stick quite a lot on. But 40 to 1 and sort of 5, 6 to 1 a place interested me about Louis.
Yeah, I see Louis. I did see a bit of, I think I saw some 9 to 10 about him being top SA. But just to show you here, just to back up your Charlie Hoffman, this is Charlie Hoffman's recent record at Augusta. So he was runner-up last week at the Valspar, and if you look at his record here, it's really solid. So it's not going to take much for him to run into the top 10, and if you're getting a really big price on that, then that's potentially the way to go. Just to mention, you'll see I have suggested one top 20 bet, and I'm going to do a preview on the Good for the Game for top 20s and top 10s. So just to mention, as far as bookmakers go, Sporting Bet pay out on ties as well, and I must say I find that very attractive as a punter. I can't tell you how many times my guys come tied 19th with 8 other players, and by the time the dead head-to-head rules are finished, you're lucky to get any money back, So just to mention that, you'll probably take, instead of, for example, a 9 to 2 shot, you'll take 4 to 1, but you'll have the ties in your favor. Let's go over to Brad though and see, Brad, as far as the long shots goes, or the boys at 40 to 1 and better, what do you have for us?
Okay, so as I mentioned, I also like KC, and whether you want to back him outright or a top 6, I think you're getting 5.5 to 1 a top 6 for someone who's finished in the top 6 3 out of the last 4 years. He's won this year. He's been good form. So I think there's good value in that. And then I'm going to throw quite a strange one out there, which was Freddie Couples at 10 to 1 to get a top 20.
Right.
Now, he obviously is aging. I think he may be even turning 60-ish this year, but he's finished in the top 20, 6 out of the 8 last Masters. It's absolutely incredible. The negative on that is that the two that he's missed have been in the last 3 years. He's missed but he's only missed 1 cut. So he's made 7 out of 8 cuts, and when you've only got a field of 87 and your cut is 44 players, once you make the cut, you've got a very decent chance of making the top 20. So you're getting about 10 to 1 him on finishing in the top 20. I think it's good value.
It certainly is, Brad. I'm going to have a look at your bets now. I'm just sharing my screen quickly. I just want to make sure that I can see I'll click on that later. Sorry, I knocked that off. Are you guys still there?
Yeah.
Oh, good. Okay, sorry, man. I'm not very good on PowerPoint, as you can probably tell. So looking at your bets there, you've got Couples, the top 10 there at 10 to 1. Casey top 6 at 11 to 2. And then you've also got a few match bets.
So I just picked 2 that are kind of stood out quite a bit to me. And I liked Kupka versus Fleetwood. We've discussed Kupka, and if he's going to be up there, I think he's got a good chance of finishing above Fleetwood. So somehow they managed to, always the players you like, they match them against other players you like. And the players you don't like, they somehow manage to match them against players you don't like. And then the second one I thought stood out to me was Garcia's really starting to play well again, and they've put him against Mickelson. And like the other side that Jason mentioned, I also don't really rate Mickelson this year. I think he's had 1 or 2 good weeks, but the other weeks he's been atrocious. So I like that double, taking Garcia and Kupka to beat Mickelson and Fleetwood.
And that double's going to work out somewhere probably around the 26 to 10 mark. So it's a nice interest for you over the full 72 holes, assuming that all the boys make the cut, of course. You don't mind if your guy you've gone against doesn't make the cut. But I like that Garcia over Mickelson as well. Garcia went well in the match play, although he did throw his toys a bit in that game against Kuchar. But, who likes Kuchar anyway? No one really, so you can't really blame Garcia for having a go. But overall, I mean, I was looking at his record last year. He after his Masters win, he really didn't do much, but he's certainly coming back to hand. Yeah, Kupka Fleetwood for me, Brad, is exactly one of those situations where they've taken two of my guys I quite fancy and sort of pitted them against each other. But let's, Jason, go to you now. I'm going to knock onto your bets, and we can have a look and run us through those.
Yeah, I mean, I like obviously Louis to be top South African there. I think at 7, 8, 9 to 10, whatever you can get your bookmaker to lay, you can get even money, have a bet. For me, Woods was 16 to 1. I did see him drift a little bit this afternoon with the betting market I looked at. He was 17 to 1 when I had a look, and as you said earlier, you probably get a bit of 18s. Oosthuizen seems firmer across most bookmakers at 40 to 1, as he is with us. And Matt Wallace for me, I think at 200 to 1. This boy's due. I mean, he travels the world. He does a bit of, you know, he had a South African caddy in Michael Kerr when he was in South Africa. Michael's an old good friend of mine, and I just thought 200 to 1 with a guy that hits it a long way. If he gets that putter going, he could be a bit of value in the scene. And then top 6, I mean, Woods for me 32. I think you can get 34, 35 to or 7 to 2 now. Oosthuizen 8 to 1, and then top 10, Charlie Hoffman at 10 to 1. I just thought those were decent bets for guys in form, guys that sort of do well around Augusta. I don't think you'll get a bad run for your money with those sort of selections. And then group betting, obviously, like I said, a few bookmakers have got different groups set up, but I concur with Brad. It's always about you're keen to go have a look at that group, and you click on Group A and you see 3 of the 5 oaks that you wanted to have the treble with. They're all in the same group. Typical bookmaker, and I'm sorry that I am one. But from a group's perspective, with the guys that I've tipped there, I think Oosthuizen's due a good week, and so is Woods. So I think they'll take a power beating in their groups. Having said that, obviously with a few of the shorter price guys in their groups, their price in the group does become a bit inflated, and there's a bit of value there. So I thought 26, 27, maybe 28 to 1, the double could be good value for them to win their groups. Because I do believe, I mean, looking at Louis on social media, he's nice and relaxed and chilled, as he always is. Sometimes I wish I could just stick a fire up his proverbial bum just to get him a little bit, in the mood. But Tiger, he's been there, he's talking the talk. And, when Tiger talks the talk, people must watch out.
Yeah, that's for sure. You got to be careful of Tiger when he's in the mood. And there's no doubt there's only one thing that Tiger's chasing at the moment, and that's majors. So let me go on to my bets, guys, before we wrap the show. I'm going for my win bets all at Bet Exchange. I do find, as I said at the start, that they tend to stretch the guys a little bit. There's 17 to 2 available elsewhere. In fact, I think I must have changed it. I think it's 15 to 2 that he is there. So I am going to talk units here just to give people an idea of my staking plan. So I'm going with a big bet on Rory. I like him at the 15 to 2. We've got the money back policy should he finish 2nd or 3rd. I'm going 1.5 units on Woods to win at 18 to 1. Thomas at 20 to 1. Thomas is perfect for this course. He's shown progressive form, although he hasn't really lit up Augusta National yet. But he's a guy, if I could say, has been very good to me over the years from a punting perspective, as has Kupka, who I really like at 30 to 1. I think he's going to be a big runner. At this point, I'm really committing to win-only bets there, although I may look to take a few places as well. And then just to come down, you guys would have noticed Lucas Berregard a couple of weeks ago. He did very well in the WGC match play. He was beaten in the 3rd, 4th playoff by Francesco Molinari, and I felt he was just a bit tired. He then came out and missed the cut last week. But I'm going to overlook that. I understand that he has seen the course before, albeit that he hasn't played it competitively. And for me, I'm going top 20 at Sporting Bet, and that's at 4 to 1. You can get 9 to 2 elsewhere. But like I said before, I like the fact that you get your money back. That you get paid in full if it's a tie, because while the top of the leaderboard's not normally that congested, you'll know as you go further and further down a leaderboard, so the players tend to group together. So I'll be looking at that. I'll also be doing a preview on Good for the Game where I'm looking purely at Sporting Bet's markets for a top 10 and a top 20 there. Also, just to point out, punters, there are lots of specials. I mean, Bet Exchange have got a great special. World Sports Betting, who they're sponsoring everything these days. They on the Lions' bums, if you look at them in the scrums, they're sponsoring the Cape Cobras. They've also got a special, and you can actually wait. And Brad, the World Sports Betting one, I think that type of special would interest someone like you, because they're offering it until, I think, the start of the 2nd round, if I'm not mistaken. So if you do want to sit back and wait a bit, you can still get that money back special. I think it's also for the top 3. I'll have to confirm that at World Sports Betting. So as a punter, though, have a look at those type of things. It's the little things like that can give you the edge over the bookies. Guys, yeah, that's our bets. Jason, anything else from your side? Any advice for the punters?
No, well, I think from a punter's perspective now, I think Brad summed it up perfectly. For me, it's about having a few tickles on the guys that you've got the gut feeling for. But for the guys out there that are looking to make a bit of money, have a look and see how the guys start. Look at the round 1 scores. See where the guys are placed. I can guarantee you Rose won't be far away. The likes of Rory won't be far away. So their prices are going to drop. So if you think they value now, have a bet. If you don't and you want a little bit more concrete, if you're that conservative punter, wait after round 1. Wait for the guys to reprice up and then have a bet. But make no mistake, Sunday night's going to be a fantastic spectacle for golf. We need a few going forward. We've had a few lulls. I won't talk you out of backing Beauregard. He beat Tiger Woods in the match play. So you found a nice lurker there at a couple of $100 to 1 to win, and 4 to 1 top 20 is a decent bet. I will be having a few bets. Brent, just because of you, and I do think it's going to be a great spectacle, and it's one of the greatest weeks of golf a year. There's many a year for the avid golfer, but for the golfer who likes to have a little bit of a bet, obviously the majors come few and far between these years. I mean, 4 times a week, but there's a few others that you can have a tickle on. But for me, Sunday night, I'm going to be in front of the TV. I'm actually just having a look here right now, and I see Rory hitting a tee shot on the par 3 on Supersport Blitz. So maybe that's an omen. I've laid him, and he's the first golfer I see on TV as I'm doing this podcast. But I hope anybody that out there has a few rand on the bets. I'll be definitely taking part in Brad's Buddy Golf app competition. I think that's great initiative, and I think that's a great tournament, and I'll be sharing the heck out of that on social media if it's out there. I just wish all the punters out there, and especially the Good for the Game followers, the Score Bet followers, I take my hat off to the likes of Bet Exchange, Sporting Bet. We'll get there one day. We're growing slowly. I want to make golf my niche. I've had continuous talks with the Sunshine Tour about becoming one of the exclusive partners. So hopefully this time next year that can become a reality. But all the best to your Good for the Game followers.
That's it. Thanks very much, Jason. And going over to Brad, I saw Brad start shivering when he heard that Rory hit a shot on a par 3, and he's just thinking to himself, whatever you do, Rory, don't win the par 3 competition on Wednesday night.
Yeah, I think he'll intentionally not try win it if he's in the league. But one thing also, I mean, if I do back Rory come Sunday, I will definitely try trade. Just as Jason was saying, the amount of pressure that's going to be on Rory come Sunday back 9, I think will be immense, unless he's got a 2 or 3 shot lead, or even if he does.
And he's blown a 4-shot lead before coming into the back 9.
So take your profit come Sunday if you can.
Excellent. Brad, thanks very much for joining us. Look forward to playing against you in the Buddy Golf competition and playing against Jason as well. Thanks very much, everybody. Thanks for watching. Remember, if you haven't subscribed to our channel yet, go below this video, hit the subscribe button. We're going to have previews on all the majors. And, of course, we've got rugby previews coming out every week, particularly now in Super Rugby season. Thanks very much to the guests for joining us. We're in for a great weekend of rugby watching and punting. And, we'll look forward to seeing you on Thursday night for the handicap, a rugby chat that matters.